What's happening, everybody? Good morning and welcome to Morning Perspective. This morning's episode is going to be an interesting one. Try to pick topics that are always interesting, but this one, I feel like a lot of people struggle on Mondays. And so I was really interested in covering this topic and getting some feedback from all of you guys on how your Mondays go, and then hopefully giving you some information on how we can make those Mondays much better going forward. So, excited for today's episode. I got some notes here that I wrote down. I covered some of this stuff yesterday on a live stream inside of Top Contractor School Community. Also did a live stream on Instagram at the same time for that one, and then did a separate live stream on Instagram earlier in the day that covered some of this information as well. But let's just jump right in, guys, and start talking about why people think Mondays are terrible days. I can't figure that out, but lots of people do, right? And there's a lot of people in the world that'll start to tell you that Monday's a bad day. Oh man, not looking forward to Monday. Nobody likes Mondays. Everybody hates going back to work. I just looked up the statistics this morning, and the statistics say that 71% of people are actively looking for a new job. Think about that. So more than 2/3 of the people that you know are actively looking for a new position to work at because they hate their jobs. And the question you have to ask yourself is this: why do people actually hate their jobs? Good question, right? Drop some comments in this stream and tell me, maybe it's you, maybe it's your friends, why people actually hate their jobs. So what is it that makes people hate their jobs? I'd love to hear people's perspectives on why they hate their jobs. But, our job here for this show is to provide you with better perspective on how you can, have better days, live a happier life, and just make things easier on yourself. And so the number one thing I will tell you is, for those people who tell you that Mondays are bad, nobody likes to go back to work, oh man, I hate Mondays, I hate Sundays because they turn in, the next day is Monday. Be very careful around those people, because if they say that stuff long enough to you, you just might start to believe it. And so be careful, be conscious of what those people are saying, and what they're trying to, eke into your mind is very, very, very important. So Mondays are actually amazing days if you really think about it, right? Mondays symbolize the gift of a new week. The gift of life is probably my favorite thing to think about every single morning. But starting your week off thinking about why Mondays are actually great days is a way better way to look at it than to go into Monday thinking, oh man, Mondays are terrible days. I hate going back to work. I hate the people that I work with. If you hate the people that you work with, that's on you, because you can always find a new job. You can find a new place to go. You can find a new career path. You can do anything you want. Life doesn't force you into staying in a job that you don't like. It doesn't force you to work with people that you don't like. Those are all choices that you make. So, Mondays it symbolizes the gift of a new week. It's an opportunity to wipe the slate clean if you had a bad week last week, right? And it's an opportunity to regain the momentum that you had if last week was a great week. Never look at Mondays as a bad thing, because it's just not true. Monday is no different than any other day of the week. It's actually an opportunity for you to do a lot of great things and to push yourself in a positive direction. My belief is that Mondays are very difficult for people because people aren't prepared for Monday. So I did a live stream last night in the Top Contractor School community on, kind of how I handle preparing for the week, or at least how I handle it when I'm doing the things that make me successful. I want to make sure that everybody understands that no matter what somebody is advising you of, so me being one of them, I might tell you, what I do, and that is what I do when I'm at my best. It is not always, you don't get it perfect all the time, no matter how successful people are. It's one of the questions that I ask people that I get advice from all the time is like, how often do you actually execute on all of these things perfectly? And most of the time, people will tell you that they don't get it right all the time. And so I think it's important for you guys to understand that, number one, you shouldn't beat yourself up when you don't get it right all the time. I think it's it's a natural given circumstances that you're never going to be perfect. And so don't beat yourself up when things aren't perfect, but make sure you have a plan of how you can get it as close to perfect as possible. People go into Mondays with anxiety because they're not prepared for the week. And so those people who are always talking about, not liking Mondays or not liking who they work with, it is most likely because they don't work for someone who's prepared. And the reality is, it's your responsibility. If you are leading people, if you're inside of a business or you work around other people, it's your job to make sure that you are prepared for the week. So a couple tips of how to overcome Monday anxiety, if you have some, is number one is spend Sunday night being prepared, getting prepared for the week. So some of the things I discussed last night is just, making sure that you take the time to review last week. What went well, what didn't go so well. Through those things, obviously make sure that you're trying to put yourself in a situation where you can do more of the things that went well last week, and obviously try to manage around or correct the course of the things that didn't go well. But there's one thing that's really important that I think that people really overlook on a Monday, and that is make sure that you go through last week's victories. Write that stuff down and make sure that you are recognizing your team, the people around you, the people in your life, even in your personal life, for the things that really went well last week, or if it's your personal life, this weekend. And remind people of what those things are, because the reason that people tend to not be happy on Mondays is because they think they got to get back to the grind, right? They're going back to a place that, man, I got all this stuff left from last weekend and or from last week, and now I got to restart on all that stuff, and how am I going to get all this done? And if the first thing that you hear when you walk into work that day on Monday is, what went really well last week, it's going to change your mindset from, anxiety to encouragement. So one of the things I talked about last night, I'll repeat it again here today, is, make sure that you are taking the time to tell people what they're truly good at. So what their gift is and how that's going to help them win this week. So I think it's really important to evaluate, what went well, what went wrong last week, but start off your Monday and start off everyone's week around you with some positive reinforcement, some recognition of what those people did for you and did for your company, did for your life, that were positive things from last week, big wins from last week. It's important, guys, to go into Monday having a plan so that everybody around you feels like they have some sort of direction. And, that is, I've worked for people in the past that just kind of flew by the seat of their pants, and that is no way to go through life. It creates anxiety for people in their personal lives and their professional lives. It makes people question whether or not they should be working at the place that they're working. The reason that 71% of people are looking to switch their jobs is not because they work at bad jobs. It's because they work for bad leaders. And bad leaders, really, it comes down to most of the time, the leadership fault of those people is that they don't recognize their people. They don't have a plan. They don't have a vision of where they're going. And they use their people as, the best way I can describe it is they use people as equipment or tools. And that's never a good thing, right? It's a very difficult thing, to deal with when you work for somebody like that. And, people tend to not stick around when that's the case. When people are working for individuals that have no appreciation for what they do, they just don't stick around. And so want to take a minute and say hello to everybody here that's jumped on the screen. Chris, Sean, Trisha, what's happening, guys? Good morning. Lydia, Nico, Matt Slauson, what's happening, man? Rashanya, good morning. Ken Walls, my man, always supporting. Thanks for the share, brother. I appreciate it. My wife is on here. Ryan Austin, good morning, man, up in Michigan. Mike, good morning, man. Thank you. Sean, yeah, for sure, man. John Maxwell is a great example. Any leadership book from John Maxwell is fantastic. And, what is interesting. Yeah, there you go, man. The Leadership Code from Britton Costa. Britton's a good friend of mine. If you guys have not picked up his book or heard about it, it is called The Leadership Code. I'll drop a link in the comments below. You can get it on Kindle pretty inexpensive, and you can also get a paperback version or a hardback version of that book. It's fantastic, and he is doing very well with that book. There's a lot of copies being sold every single day. So, Chase, thanks for joining, man, and appreciate you getting up just to be able to watch this, man. Thank you so much for all you guys jumping on here every day and joining me first thing in the morning. But back to the leadership thing. Everybody is a leader, just like we say everybody's in sales, right? So everybody's in sales and everybody is a leader, whether you're leading your own life, you're leading your family, you're leading a business. But being a leader is ultimately about setting the temperature, right? And that this ties into exactly what we're talking about. As you're going into Monday, remember that people are coming to work, they're coming to your team, they're coming into your life, and they're looking for some sort of guidance, some sort of leadership to set that temperature. And so, we say, you've probably heard the comparison, or are you a thermometer or are you a thermostat? Are you taking the temperature or are you setting the temperature as a leader? And so it's important for you to be prepared yourself. So, one of the things that I say frequently is you got to pour into yourself first to be able to pour into others. And so if you're not prepared for the week and you don't spend that time on Sunday night or even early Monday morning, if that's what you prefer, to be prepared for the week, then how are people going to be comfortable following you? And you gotta really look in the mirror and think about that. And it comes down to putting others first requires a sacrifice on your part of being spending that time preparing. And so you can't just wing it and expect to get great results. It just doesn't work like that. I've spent time around a lot of incredibly successful people, and all of them are very, very intentional people. They're very organized. They have their intentions set before they get through the week. Another thing that I talked about last night on the live stream in the Top Contractor School community was, there's a lot of things that happen in our business, happen in my life, that I've spent time visualizing what that looked like before it actually happened. And I know that, for some people, sometimes people look at those kinds of things and they think, and I used to be one of them, oh man, that's hokey pokey stuff, or that's, rainbows and unicorn type of stuff. And I'm not that kind of person, especially my dudes that are out there that are in the construction industry. Those guys are tough. They don't like that kind of stuff. But I can tell you that if you spend some time visualizing what it feels like when you win, what it looks like, what the results are, what benefits your people get if you win, that your focus will be 100 times better than it is if you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you don't have a plan. For those guys that are out there, guys and girls that are out there in the construction industry, there is nothing more important than you being prepared for what is coming your way. Because everybody knows in construction, things come our way. Like we get like ridiculous things thrown in front of us, obstacles that you have to think about on the fly and be able to solve. And so in that environment where there's just crazy things coming at you all the time, it is 10 times more important to be prepared so that when those things happen, you have a place to go back to. You have the north compass pointed in the right direction. The compass is never off track, right? And the way that you get to that point is through preparing, going into the week with intention, starting off the week on a positive note. And so I would encourage you guys that are on this stream, the best thing that you can do today to set your week in a positive direction is to set that temperature of being positive, right? Recognizing those things. If you look around your team, you will figure out exactly what happened last week that was exceptional. There's always things, right? So for me, I write it in my planner every single day what the successes are, so it's easy for me to go back. I actually have a block in there that talks about today's successes. That helps me day to day, even on the worst days, figure out exactly what went well, right? So that the mindset is always positive. It's always pointed in the right direction. And so I would encourage you guys to do the same thing. Keep track of what went well today. Whether you use a planner or whether you don't, make that note. If it's on the bottom of your to-do list or scratch paper or whatever it is, just think about what that looks like, what you did well, what your team did well, what, in your personal life. All of those things, you got to keep inventory of what's going well, because on those days where it gets tough, or coming into Monday and you feel that anxiety from the previous week, if you start reading through all the things that went well last week, you probably lower that level of anxiety and go into the week, go into Monday with a much more positive mindset. But it's keeping score is important, and it will help you understand that things are not ever nearly as bad as they seem. So again, guys, so Mondays are not terrible days. They are the opportunity to start fresh. They're the opportunity to set your team, your own self, the people around you off in a positive direction. And man, I can't encourage you guys enough to spend a lot of time getting ready for every single week, or spend as much time as you can to get yourself in the right mindset, to get yourself ready to help people have a better week. Because if the people around you are having a better week, guess what's going to happen for you? You're probably going to have a better week too. So let me hop back over here and just say hi to some people. Joe, what's happening, man? Good morning. I got a lot of things that went well last week to discuss with Joe this morning. Paula, good morning. Thanks for the compliment. I wore this shirt on purpose because it's Monday. I wanted to brighten it up for you guys so you could start off Monday on a positive note. Dean Dio, I saw you pop in here, man. Good to see you, brother. I saw that you followed me as well, but I will send you a friend request here in a minute so we can be official Facebook friends. We're already friends in real life, but we'll be Facebook friends as well. Holly, Chris Patterson, what's happening? Bruce, good morning. But any rate, guys, just that's it. I mean, if you guys have any comments, questions, drop them in the comments, and I'd be happy to answer them. But I'm super passionate about helping people, look at life in a different way. And I think that Mondays, man, are a big deal for people to just, get off on the wrong foot for some reason. And I don't believe that there's any reason for it other than too many people have told you that Mondays are bad days, because they're not bad days. It is a day for you to have an opportunity to start fresh or to continue on the momentum that you had the week before. So hopefully this live helps you look at Mondays in a different way. Hopefully it helps you recognize your team and the people around you to have a better week. And if you help the people around you have a better week, then obviously you're going to have a better week yourself. So I appreciate you guys all tuning in and spending 20 minutes or so here with me. And we will be back tomorrow morning. I am not going to announce who I may have on the show because I don't have it confirmed yet. But tomorrow morning, we are potentially going to have a guest on here that is going to drop some serious knowledge on you guys. And man, I'm looking forward to bringing some of my friends on here and sharing their stories and their knowledge with you guys as well. So appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you again tomorrow at 7:30.